It's coming up to 8:45. Well, have you ever heard of a man called Warren Buffett? He's one of my heroes. He just happens to be the second richest man in the world, a truly amazing guy, the world's best investor.
Well, Warren actually made his fortune by believing in himself and ignoring all those people who said it couldn't be done. His story is the subject of a new book called Universal Wisdom, and the author is Brett Kelly, and he joins us now.
G'day.
Brett, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Tell us what was so amazing about Warren Buffett. Why was he such a believer in himself?
Mel, imagine if you were looking into people that had made a real difference and you found somebody that had done 3 times better than anyone else in the entire world in their area of specialisation, and yet everyone had ignored him and continually bagged him, and even recently during the internet boom said he was an old man, he was finished, he should get with the times, and yet he still had the strength of character to stay with what he knew to be true and came out on top. That sort of guy's pretty inspiring to someone like me.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
I love him. I read all his books, but he's not the only one in your book. There are 6 other inspiring people: Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa. What have they got in common with a bloke called Warren Buffett?
What's interesting, David, is, you know, I've taken 7 people, as you mentioned, Mandela, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Buffett, Mother Teresa. What do they all have in common? What they have in common is this acknowledgement that there are principles that are always true in all times, places, cultures, and their willingness that even when the crowd disagrees with them or tells them they're crazy, they stick to their course, and over time they've been vindicated in each of their areas to have an insight that isn't as common as you know, perhaps we would hope. Yeah.
Inspiring people. And you've also got a bit of a story to tell, haven't you, about turning your life around?
It's a strange story, Mel. What happened, I was 22, I was unemployed, and I lost my job. I didn't know what to do, so I interviewed 34 prominent Australians and put them together in a book. That book was called Collective Wisdom, and it started a journey of just looking for answers to what's life all about, and, you know, what to do and how to do it. So I went to these prominent people, asked them about that, and then 7 years later I got a letter last October that I was sitting at home trying to study for some exams, and a young guy wrote to me. I addressed more than 100,000 people across the country, old people, young people, people in between, and he said, you know, what have you learned from that book and how's it changed your life? I sat there, I tried to write a letter back to him, and I didn't know what to say, so I sketched out, you know, what I would say, and, you know, 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago I phoned him and I said, Andrew, I meant to write back to your letter. What I've done is I've written you a book. And
That's a good response.
Yeah, you know, he's a young guy in the army in Townsville, and I shipped him up a copy of the book. Needless to say, he was pretty excited about that.
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
He's found it pretty interesting.
It is a great read because we can certainly learn from others, and you pull it together in a common thread, which is great. It's called Universal Wisdom, Finding Answers to Life's Ultimate Questions. It's available now. Brett, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. It's 8:47, where they say Christmas is the season of giving, so we are going to start that right here this morning on Sunrise.
After the break, find out which sporting stars have signed up to help the Smith family's appeal. You're watching Sunrise, Aussie made and proud.